Every time he runs into Tariq for whatever reason, Tariq is always popped at that very moment. He never finds Tariq when Tariq is up. Every time every time he's popped, Tariq is popped. Two pops up like, yo, where my brother at? And Tariq only got nothing, always has nothing to offer him or bare minimum to offer him.
Because the kid the coldest, maintain that stay the same and maintain it. Safe to say the kid getting older. Forever gang, I'm never switching over. Made a lane and niggas can't get over. I can't mess with rappers, they be bogus. Rather get the pack and keep it open.
Alright, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Dapper back for another Power Book 2 Ghost review. This time we're getting into the penultimate episode, episode 9 of season 3. And boy, did a lot happen. New faces, new faces to the show popped up. It's a lot to discuss, a lot to react to. So with that being the case, we're going to get into it. But before we even do that, make sure you like, you subscribe. It takes nothing to do either of the two. It's just 2 clicks of a button. You can do it on your laptop. You can do it on mobile. You know what I'm saying? And also, comment to add to the discussion in the comments. You know what I'm saying? I like to get in the comments, discuss, see you guys' perspective, things of that nature. But without further ado, let's get into it. All right, first things first, starting off with Sax. Obviously, we all know Sax died last episode, shot by Theo Rollins, Dave's brother. But still from beyond the grave, wreaking havoc. And this is what you expect from Sax, wreaking havoc. You know what I mean? He sends out all these letters, obviously, and a bunch of various people get some letters. And in these letters, he sends one to Jenny. One goes to like 2-Bit. One goes to, a bunch of different people just get letters. And these letters end up shaping the episode in its entirety. So for starters, we end up, obviously, Jenny gets a letter, and Jenny's obviously super emotional because she obviously did like Sax, but couldn't, be intimate with Sax and do the job properly. And, though that just got complicated, but then obviously he dies behind being the CI and being the mole, and, and she starts to feel bad, and she starts losing herself behind it. All because of Sax letters. So we're going to get into that moving forward. But it's just so Sax-like to just cause trouble from beyond the grave because he just really hated that family that much. Yeah, so like I was getting into just now, Jenny is moving real emotional right now because she knows that Sax was the backbone of that case. Now they don't have it, and so the Rico case is pretty much has barely any legs to stand on, if any at all. So now she's now trying to get pressure on Effie to flip, which they're failing at. So she's just all over the place because it's that the plan is failing. Sax is gone, Effie's not flipping. So it's like she's just losing leverage, and with losing leverage is gonna be obviously their job is based on rapport, based on credibility, and her credibility is in question now. So she's just all around just trying to put pressure on everybody to make sure they're blah, blah, blah. So all around she's just trying to make something shake basically, and I don't know it's going to work well for her because now it seems like she's obsessed with this, and we see what happened to Sax when he becomes this obsessed character, and I'm guessing that she's just going to become the new Sax. I think that's why they were probably comfortable killing Sax, or because it was this kind of thing. It was like, hey, we got Jenny, she can be the new obsessed with the family or obsessed with the ending the drug game, kind of thing going forward. So we'll see. We'll throw Blanca in just for kicks. Obviously, Blanca's rolling alongside Jenny. Blanca obviously didn't really care too much for Sax's death because she kind of didn't really want to work with Sax anyway. She knew this would get messy. So shout out to her for even knowing that. But not even shout out to her actually at all because she still worked with the man. And it got messy, of course. And she, honestly, I'm pretty sure she was 2 seconds away from saying, I told you so. But with that being the case, I just wanted to throw Blanca in there. Effie. Obviously, we saw episode 8. Effie gets arrested. And she's behind bars, and, she's in a situation where she kind of has a choice to make because obviously the feds are pressing her to flip on, because basically they're trying to tell her they want Tariq St. Patrick, and she's not really budging. And we get to kind of see what her values are in this very episode. We get to see that, she still clearly has feelings for Tariq, as was evident in the scene where Davis came and, attempted to give her counsel, but she just doesn't want Davis's help. She's not flipping on Tariq. She stood tall on that. She even had a moment where she prioritized, one thing about Effie is she gonna prioritize herself, and we've seen that from jump, but herself and her feelings. And we saw Kane come in there dressed as a lawyer, looking like Urkel basically, and kind of telling her, "Oh, flip on Tariq," and she's like, "No, like that's not happening. That's not." I said that episodes ago. I'm like, "Yo, Effie is not built like that. That's not who she is. She knows what she got herself into, and she's willing to abide by those rules set in front of her. She's not gonna, kind of cop the I'm a civilian plea now, even though because she's deep in the game. You know what I'm saying?" And Kane was obviously hurt by that, but we'll get into Kane next. So now we have Kane. Kane, this is probably one of the more emotional moments, not moments, but emotional episodes for Kane, even though he didn't physically cry or anything, because like he had to come to grips with like people that he loves not really showing that love back to him. Like you saw he got kind of fell in love real quick with Effie, and Effie kind of was just like telling him like, "Yo, like Tariq's really my guy. Like you really was just a guy that stood there. You know what I'm saying? You was willing to help me out. I appreciate that. That's cool. But I'm Tariq's girl, and I'm not listening to you just because we had sex a couple times. Sorry." And then Kane obviously ends up in a situation where, he ends up facing Monet. Because the backbone of Kane's issue with Monet has always just been, since pretty much season one, is since Tariq's come around, she's basically been treating Tariq like how he wants to be treated as Monet's son. It's like she constantly putting Kane down, putting his ideas down, calling him stupid. But anything Tariq says, she pretty much jumped at the idea, and he kind of had to press her on that. And obviously, Monet, in typical Monet fashion, will get to her deflects. But Kane had to come to grips with the fact that in this episode that people and persons that he, really wanted validation from just didn't hold him in the same regard as that he did, which is sad to see. Also, we knew that fight scene between Tariq and Kane was gonna go the way it did. Like obviously Tariq not scared of Kane, but Kane clearly hold that weight. You know what I'm saying? In the streets, he's way more seasoned. I don't even know if Tariq has been in a fight since he's been on the show. Now we have Drew. Clearly, Drew has to, atone for his sins. The man went viral in the past episodes, went viral chasing after Everett. You know what I'm saying? It's just an emotional wreck. So he has to atone for all the damage he's done. You know what I'm saying? He's messy. He was acting sus with the Castillos. So with that being said, gotta take care of the Castillos because you saw, Monet had that interaction with the Castillo's mom. I forgot her name, but they had that interaction, and basically, they're coming for Drew basically because they think that the Tejadas had something to do with it, and nobody's talking. So at that point, they got to make that move. So with that being the case, we end up in a situation where now they got to take care of Castillo. So they do. I always question where they have the time and resources to find these kind of gadgets, but either way, they end up gassing up the store that the Castillos run, little cafe or whatever it is. Kane and them come in there, and then obviously they kill everybody except the mom who's on her last breath. And in her last breath, she tells Drew it's Monet's fault. So now he is another child that comes back to Monet with a gripe because he ends up learning that Lorenzo, was the one that learning that Monet is the one that killed Lorenzo or had him killed in the first place. So it's just all bad news for Monet because she's losing the kids that's on her side as if she wasn't already. But now Drew has more mouths, and then we'll talk about that scene where they all confront Monet. Now Diana had a interesting episode to say the least, because she's been confronting Monet forever. You know what I'm saying? This has been an ongoing thing, especially this season since it started off with her getting the cold shoulder from Monet because Monet was blaming her partially for Zeke's murder or whatever. So we fast forward, they get the letter. The letter is basically stating that, hey, this is Tariq's basically trying to set her up, and that's not the truth. And she later figures that out when she goes to Tariq, and he tells her that's not the truth. But then in searching Tariq's room, which obviously in typical Diana fashion she would do, she finds the witness files that Tariq took from Davis that incriminates Monet. She takes that evidence back to Drew because her and Drew have been on the same team this whole time. Kane's kind of been on his loose cannon flow a little bit. So then, with that being the case, they end up taking that upon themselves and making their own little side conversation, side hustle, things to do and bring to Monet's attention. And with that being the case, it just started getting even messier and messier. messier, and I can only see episode 10 being just a world of mess, a world of nonsense. I know it's gonna be crazy. And it's gonna be a lot of things going on. Whew. Of course, it only makes sense to bring this all the way home with Monet herself. Now, Monet, obviously, the whole season, well, not the whole season, but at least from like about episode 3 on, has been setting herself up in a way that there's lies on top of lies. She has to keep covering. People are dying, and she's making another lie to cover that. And, she's got her kids doing her bidding, and she's basically puppet mastering this whole thing. And the clues are starting to show themselves. Obviously, she can't hide everything forever. Everything the truth will come to the light, as they say. And, all her kids come with information they found out to her in the house because they've started to put the clues together. And, obviously, Kane has his gripes just about her and his relationship as mother and son. But then Diana and Drew kind of come to her on a not even mother and son tip, but Drew figures out, you had me kill Gordo when you're the one that killed Pops, and what I'm saying, that was basically saying everything that they found out. Diana has the the Whitman file that kind of puts her in jeopardy because it basically ties her to have motive for killing Carrie and all those things. So it's looking grim for Monet, and obviously in typical Monet fashion, she's just deflecting, putting it back on Lorenzo. Obviously she's gonna put it on Lorenzo. The man's not here to defend himself, but the kids are not buying it. You know what I'm saying? And they walk out of there basically, almost throwing hands to a point, which is obviously not a good look, but it helps to my point, which I've been saying from the jump. There was a split coming. It was inevitable. There's just too many differing opinions on who wants to lead, what the moral compass should be. Is there even a moral compass they should be following? Like, it's just too many different heads butting, and it doesn't make for a cohesive unit. And obviously they've never really been a real... not that they haven't been a real family, but they've strayed super far from being a real family at this point. It's clearly they're at a point where it's basically unsalvageable, and it's all due to Monet's actions this season. Alrighty, Braden, let's get to it. Braden has his first kill. He has his first kill. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of didn't say it, but I predicted it. I knew it would be a family member, just because it just felt like something that he had to do, because he already made a mistake with the whole Lauren thing when, he was tasked with taking out Lauren. Like, basically, not even just Lauren, but even prior. Like, he's stepped into this game, but been unwilling to do what this game has calls for, which is murder. He's willing to sell the dope, he's willing to do all that, but when it comes to actually taking somebody's life or hurting somebody, he's kind of been hesitant to do it, or just froze up. So with that being the case, he finally gets his time, because honestly, it's not even like I think it was just more so like a emotional thing with him. It wasn't even like he really meant to do it. I think he just the emotions took over, and he ended up obviously pushing his Uncle Lucas off the building. You know what I'm saying? And people are obviously got ruled as a suicide because he fled from the scene, but he knows he did it, and he obviously will end up telling people that he did it. But it's just good to see Braden has finally stepped to the dark side full time. About time, because it seems like drastic measures are about to have to take place, and he's going to need to be a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, shout out to Braden, finally doing what he needs to do to be a valuable piece of somebody in this game. Now, Rashad Tate makes me scared, because obviously I already kind of know. I know in a sense how corrupt politics is, but just seeing Rashad Tate at work, it's just nasty. It's just nasty work. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to him for keeping the girl, because somehow he managed to keep Harper, even though he met with them in the first place. But he keeps Harper because he ends up blowing the whistle on the whole Ponzi scheme operation, with that being the case. And he ends up being I don't know. Y'all tell me. I feel like I'm stumbling over my words a lot, because I just feel like, Harper, how weak are you that it, what I'm saying? He went behind your back, but then he does a quote-unquote good thing, even though it helps him out in the long run more than you. It's just nasty vibes, because I'm just looking I see them together. I'm like, that's all it took, Harper, that's all it took? Because clearly he's a shady guy. Tuvit was on the show before, obviously, and we see him pop back up, which all of us Power fans knew would happen, because money was owed, and we know in Power, you gotta pay your debts. That's one thing Power does. Either you're gonna die or you're gonna pay the debt. So it's one or the other. And he comes and he robs Tariq, not robs him, but puts Tariq in a tough position. Tariq, Every time he runs to Tariq for whatever reason, Tariq is always popped at that very moment. He never finds Tariq when Tariq is up. Every time every time he's popped, Tariq is popped. Two pops up like, yo, where my bread at? And Tariq only got nothing. Always has nothing to offer him or bare minimum to offer him. And so obviously he ends up. We know he drives off the Porsche. Also, he ends up obviously giving Tariq some much needed information. So it's really a worthwhile trade if you're Tariq, to be honest. And Tariq ends up in I don't even know what car it is, a Monte Carlo, I don't know what that is. But Tariq ends up having to drive that, even though he just got the Porsche. And obviously now he owes him product, all that. But I'm happy to see Two-Bit back because, you know what I'm saying, oof. I think they can be a good duo going forward. Not a good duo, but a good member of the team, a member of the cast going forward. But we'll see what they do with Two-Bit's character. I would love to see him get a bigger role in the show. Tariq had a hell of an episode because, you know what I'm saying, like I just said, lost his car. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they're really trying to get him. So he's the target, main target. St. Patrick family, of course. You know, the trust fund's gone. Everything he's pretty much worked for from episode 1 of season 1, all that stuff is pretty much gone because there's no trust fund anymore. So he's not going to get that money. So really, him being in school, I'm trying to see how much that matters at this point. Unless, you know, they find a different way. And the thing is, I don't think Tariq even really, he wants the money, but like, I think he really wants to make his own name anyhow. But we end up seeing Tariq find out, you know, the location of Tasha and his sister and his grandma, which obviously he goes to go see them. But then just on the luck of his luck, Tariq's luck, which hasn't really been good, he ends up going there and they end up being under attack. And they're under attack by none other than Mr. Tommy Egan. All right, so Tommy's back. You know what I'm saying? We foreshadowed as fans of Power that this crossover would happen. It was pretty obvious. You couldn't keep Tommy away from, you know what I'm saying, New York, even though he's in Chicago. And, you know, in typical Tommy fashion, he's there to repay debts. Now, the question is, how does Tommy get that information? We'll find out. However, Tommy shows up, and just in the nick of time, of course, Tariq is there. You know what I'm saying? Because Tommy's there to go get his, like I said, debt has to be paid. And, you know, Tasha killed Lakeisha, so he's there to kill Tasha. But Tariq is there to save her. And Tasha, knowing that Tariq would kill Tommy, you know what I'm saying? There's a standoff there because she loves both people. She loves Tommy. She loves Tariq. She doesn't want to see them beefing. So, you know, they come to a standoff. Now, I wanted to end with Davis just because I wanted to make a connection real quick. I feel like Davis is falling into that Proctor world where, I mean, it was inevitable, but he's finally falling in because, like, at first he was kind of like lawyering from afar. Like, it was like, hey, you need my help here. He might like, yeah, it's illegal, but cool, we'll get away with it. I'm smart enough. I know the law, blah, 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 blah. But now he's falling into that world where, like, he's literally, like, involved in this, especially with the whole money, you know, them accusing him of, Blanca and Jenny accusing him of the money, getting the money, give him the money to get his brother out, you know what I'm saying, which he denied, obviously. But, you know, he's done things himself that involve him in, you know, these illegal transactions that are going on even outside of the drug game. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, he's already representing these you know what I'm saying, these high profile drug dealers. So, you know, it's already a bad spot for Davis to be in. So going forward, episode 10 and season 4, I look for him to be way more involved in these things, you know what I'm saying? I don't think he's a killer. I don't know if he's going to kill anybody, but Davis is going to be so much more like involved. But yeah, that's my little reactions to the, you know what I'm saying, the episode and my little review, recap, whatever you want to call these. I just like talking about the show and things I've noticed, things I thought, you know, were pretty cool. But yeah, it was a great episode overall. Like I said, always leave your comments below. Leave them wherever I was wrong, wherever I missed a point. I'm never, you know, pressed. Find your way into the comment section. Give this video a like just because you saw the video, just like it, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you made it this far. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. We're out of here.
Big dripper stand up in the ocean. Everybody trapping, we get lost. He ain't